Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special Christmas Eve edition of the Dr. Quack podcast. I'm Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. This show, Primetime Wrestling, was something we truly enjoyed growing up as a kid watching it. I know you watched it. I know I watched it. We're filming today, December 24th, 2022. This episode came out December 24th, 1990.
Yes, thank you, Nick, for this recommendation. He is one of our longtime friends and fans here. We're going to go over this one. We literally had to go to Peacock and look it up, and we wondered, why did we have to watch this show?
Yeah, but I will say the first thing, because it started out with a little commercial showing what's going on, just the regular package. They showed Hulk Hogan wearing the title. Now, this again is December 24th, 1990. The Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6, April 1st, 1990, was the champion. There was not one single picture of the Ultimate Warrior in the intro package holding a belt or otherwise. And the loss to Sergeant Slaughter is coming up. It has not happened yet. So I found that a little interesting right off the get-go.
Yeah, there's a lot of things interesting about this whole 2-hour content here. But, we had the Gorilla and we had the Brain here, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon, hosting Primetime Wrestling. No Roddy Piper on this one.
Thank God, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, and of course, in the commentary on matches, we had guys like Sean Mooney, Lord Alfred Hayes.
Who did almost all of them.
Yeah, and they were not fun at all.
No, there's one match that didn't have those two guys, and when we get there, I'll tell you who they were.
Yep.
It was slightly better, but I don't know how.
And, we had definitely some ring announcers. We'll get to that. But the first segment there, they were celebrating Christmas Eve, talking about the big special coming on Christmas. And Bobby the Brain was having to decorate this tree.
Yeah, he starts out actually underneath the desk. Now imagine if you've never seen Primetime Wrestling, first of all, pause here, go watch it so you understand what we're talking about. Yeah. Then come back and turn this on. It's a triangular kind of desk with two cutouts, and Gorilla's sitting on the host side, and Bobby Heenan is underneath the desk, and Gorilla keeps getting upset. What the hell are you doing? Because Bobby Heenan's trying to find the Christmas ornaments because his tree is not yet decorated.
Yes. Where he goes, Gorilla, where should I stick this? And he's like, I'll show you where to stick it.
Yeah, talking about the lights, which became a focal point for 3/4 of this show, which was the one string of lights.
Yeah, so let's move into the opening match here. We have Mike McGurk out there on ring announcing for this one. Tony Ulysses and Dwayne Gill taking on the Legion of Doom. We know Dwayne Gill.
Yes, Gillberg, who is somebody I have faced. I think you faced him too, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
I got to face Dwayne Gill as Gillberg. It was a great match. Very talented guy. Tony Ulysses was more independent circuit. I couldn't find anything else on this guy, but thank you for being on this show with us, Mr. Ulysses. If you're able to check us out here, give us a thumbs up. This was, like most things on Primetime Wrestling, either a squash match or a C or D list level match that aired somewhere else. And this was a squash match. This was, the LOD was really starting to make waves. They were trying to put him over with a squash match, making him a monster, which is a solid, tried and true booking method. 1.5. The match was technically good. Nobody screwed up. Mr. Ulysses did a great job. Dwayne Gill is a high-quality enhancement talent. 1.5.
Yes, 1.5. No selling at its finest by LOD. They're like, we're not selling crap that you throw at us.
That's true.
Yeah, and then, it went to commercials, for the Royal Rumble and all sorts of stuff. And then we come back and Bobby gets knocked down by the Christmas tree.
Yeah, the tree takes his chair. Gorilla keeps trying to tell him to sit down. He says he can't. The tree is in his chair. That was funny. This was still getting to be a funny segment. Bobby Heenan got his hands wrapped up in the Christmas ornaments and asked Gorilla to help him out, and Gorilla wanted to help him out the door. Now, in real life, these guys were the best of friends, so they had tremendous chemistry where they could play off stuff like this, and this was better than all the matches combined, watching these two guys on this show. And it led us to something this show was famous for. It was a shill for all the pay-per-views. Every single time they broke away to a special event, it was to hype up Royal Rumble 1991.
Some of that. Now what they hyped up here in this next segment.
Well, yeah, that's true. This is
this segment here, which I actually enjoy because I totally forgot about it. Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, had the Intercontinental title, and he was going to defend it against Mr. Perfect. But he had a run-in with the $1 Million Man, and one of the funniest things I saw was the $1 Million Man actually giving money to Howard Finkel to do the ring announcing.
$300, not a bad night's work.
No, it's not. And yep, he was getting ready to finish him off, but of course, referee got bumped, and DiBiase came and interfered.
Yeah, that was our great friend there in spirit. Joey Morella was that it was Dave Hebner. Also great referee in spirit. He was knocked down on this, and it set up a very short-lived feud between the $1 Million Man and the Texas Tornado. It didn't work very well. And another funny thing about Mike McGurk. Mike McGurk is the daughter of a legendary promoter, Leroy King Kong McGurk. Mm-hmm. And the reason Ted DiBiase got kicked out of his promotion, he started dating his daughter, Mike McGurk. Now, they didn't marry. Leroy basically scared him into leaving her, but there's a big story about that. Follow the Tales from the Territories. You'll find out more if you want to know about Ted DiBiase and Mike McGurk.
Yeah, and Bobby Heenan, of course, after this segment, has got to insult Texas. How dare you there, Bobby Heenan. Rest in peace.
We're both transplants.
Yeah, we are. But we both enjoyed it. You know, it's Bobby. Bobby's being Bobby. And now, yeah, here we go. Next big matchup. Samba Simba with Jimmy Snuka's trunks on, taking on the Barbarian.
Yeah, because they were not big enough. Now, Superman Tony Atlas, who gets saddled with Samba Simba. I remember watching Tony Atlas. He's one of the few people in wrestling history who holds a pinfall victory over Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
He did it in Madison Square Garden. Now, it was not a clean win. Hogan's leg was on the middle rope, but Tony Atlas does hold a pinfall victory. And he was a tag champ here with Rocky Johnson. He's been bouncing around World Wrestling Council, and now he comes in as the less talented version of Kamala, called Samba Simba.
You know, we couldn't tell that was Tony Atlas. I literally thought that was a whole new wrestler there.
Yeah, just like when Ricky Steamboat breathed fire and was the dragon, he wasn't Ricky Steamboat. Yeah, it was really hard to tell. I was so confused.
Oh, God, yeah. But the match was good, actually. I gave it 2.25 stars. I mean, Barbarian and him had some good chemistry there.
I thought they didn't. Well, they had some. The problem was this match, like all the other matches that came from London, Ontario, Canada.
Yes.
This match, the crowd didn't care. So I don't know if these guys didn't care because it started off really odd. That's why I thought they didn't have chemistry. Samba Simba kept walking around, and Barbarian had to walk him. Hey, come on, let's get started. That's why I thought they had no chemistry.
Yeah, but they did okay. I thought it was a good 2-star match. 2.25 is what I'm giving it.
I went 3/4, but I'll bump it up to 1. I mean, there was nothing technically wrong with it. It's just the match was really boring.
Yeah, but then we get to move into some more boring stuff here because we had the Royal Rumble report round, was it 3-2, something like that?
Yeah.
There's too many of them during this show. But they had a good Sergeant Slaughter Heat promo there. That was really awesome. But here's where my 2-finger salute comes in. The Ultimate Warrior. If you watch this promo, this has been talked about a lot, even through his documentary, where he had the promo and he had the belt on backwards. Yes, way before Dolph Ziggler purposely meant to do it. He did not. He had the belt completely on backwards there. The title strap was on there. Just showing. He's like, oh, here, let me pull it off here. And you can just see him looking very incoherent. The drugs were definitely in him. This was Macho Man Coke level 5. That's why when they became partners, it was a perfect fit. But yeah, this gets my 2-finger salute.
And I'm going to double down. I'm not going to spray it. Our editor is off here. I don't want to because we're going to have to do it. I don't want to make him have to find a picture of it. So I'm being nice to you. There's my Christmas present to you.
Oh, geez, Merry Christmas.
Since the editor is out, you're doing the backup editing. The Ultimate Warrior's promo was basically this. Let me turn this way. I'm here reading the script because I'm going to take on Sergeant Slaughter. So it's just as bad, so let's move on.
Yeah, moving along here, another squash match. Kevin Green and Pat Armstrong taking on Power and Glory with the Slickster.
Yeah, old Herk-a-Jerk. This is another one Mike McGurk was the ring announcer on. Now, this is not football player Kevin Green. This is a very short independent wrestler who, again, like most of the other indie guys on here, there's no other information about him. And Pat Armstrong actually is not a member of the Armstrong family, but he did make a name for himself in Louisiana for a very, very short period of time. He had like 4 matches that people remember, but he didn't use the name, and the name is blotted out to history because it's spelled so many different ways. I'm not going to try and do it. Yeah. But I'm going to actually give Herk and Jerk a little bit on this one here. Hercules Hernandez let Kevin Green throw 3 drop kicks that looked good. Let him get some moves in. Now, yes, he no-sold them, but he let him throw those pretty drop kicks and show off his skills. And Jerk, Paul Roma, actually took a pretty hip toss from Pat Armstrong to let Pat Armstrong show off a little bit of his talent. So I went 1 1/4 because that's the nicest I've ever seen Jerk.
Yeah, I went 1.5. Most of these squash matches, you're going to see about a 1.5 out of me. Like, these were definitely ones that didn't belong on pay-per-view, but they were nice for the Saturday or Monday shows here because most of them were recaps.
And this one was when we had the late, great Joey Morella refereeing. So we got to see Joey Morella, a great referee. Triple H, Christmas present for 2023. Let's have the referees Hall of Fame wing.
Yes, needed, well-deserved, should have been done a long time ago. But then we had Sean Mooney again with the promo center here for everybody that was entering the Rumble. Now, the cool part about this was there was one person in particular that I got to see there in 1990. Shane Douglas.
Yes, not Dean Douglas, Shane Douglas.
Yes. Back when he was just leaving there and going to partner with Steamboat to win tag titles in WCW. The pretty boy with the blonde hair, the dynamic dude.
That's right. Well, he wasn't really a dynamic dude yet.
Yeah.
But what they showed here was actually a good example of what's called cold filming. It's not a kayfabe word of the day. We do it a lot where we film in one area. Sean Mooney filmed a totally different location on a totally different day, and their throw to each other was seamless because they both knew what it was talking about. It's called cold filming, and it's something that you should practice if you want to get into work like this about knowing what your next person is going to be talking about or what somebody is throwing to you. And I think they really did a great job of it.
They did. They really did. But now we're going to move on here because we got a lot of things to cover here. We got the Boss Man and Pete Sanchez.
Yeah, that one...
I love the ending. The ending was great. Who brings a ball and chain to the ring and changes it to their opponent?
Well, at this time, Boss Man was a babyface again.
Merry Christmas.
He started out that way, bringing the ball and chain, or the nightstick, and then he used to bring the ball and chain. Then he did away with the ball and chain. We started bringing it back. And Pete Sanchez was a big talent on World Wrestling Council. He came here as enhancement talent like a few other people from the super indies or the super regionals of the time. We'll talk about another one here in a minute. They had a lot of fun with this one. Boss Man looked decent. He's got a really good big boot. One of the better big boots because he actually straightened his leg all the way out and it looks impactful. His Boss Man Slam looked good. This was one of the better ones, I thought. I went 2 stars on this one.
There you go. Yeah, I can go with that. I was 1.5. But yeah, it was pretty good. I like the ending, so I'll give it a 2-star on that. And then you had an interview with Brother Love and Mean Gene and The Undertaker. Who was doing the interviewing?
Mean Gene Okerlund.
Yeah, not Brother Love.
What he does best.
Brother Love.
Yes, Brother Love is still the manager of The Undertaker at this point. Paul Bearer doesn't come in, I think, till after the Royal Rumble. I think that's when he appeared.
It's roughly, yeah, by that point.
It's right around that time. So we still got red-faced Bruce Pritchard, who is an executive, but also one of those guys that whenever they need someone to step up, he steps up. And he's out there with The Undertaker. And it was a good segment. It helped keeping the flow of The Undertaker moving forward. So it didn't bother me.
Yeah, definitely. And then you had Haku taking on Superfly Jimmy Snuka. And this is something I wanted to ask you. I didn't even ask you this offline. Was that Lee Marshall over there doing ring announcing?
I'm not sure.
I really think that was Lee Marshall from WCW in the early days. I think that
No,
was
Lee
him.
Marshall has dark hair and weighed about 100 pounds more.
Right, he looked like younger there. I don't know. Somebody tell me if you see it in the comments. But the match was good.
Yeah, I couldn't find out who that ring announcer was. He only did the London, Ontario match. He may be a Canadian ring announcer that does those for Ontario. It's possible.
Possible.
This one, Haku and Snuka, it didn't work.
No.
It really didn't.
Snuka got his trunks back, though. That's good.
Yeah. But this match really didn't work. I don't know what it was. These guys have had better matches. Maybe it was an off night for them. But this one really wasn't good. 1 star for the fact of at least it was fun to watch the car crash. But it wasn't a good car crash.
It's about the route I'm going to. I'm with you there. Moving along, yeah, now we got the Brother Love show. Yeah, with Dusty and Dustin. Because they call him the Natural.
Yeah.
Not even there yet.
Yeah, well, at this time, he's not the Natural. He's the best Dusty Rhodes impersonator I've ever heard in my life.
Got the American dream out there, baby.
And then you got Little Mac and Jamie. He sounds just like him, Brother Daddy. They were putting over the feud with Ted DiBiase and Virgil. Now, Ted DiBiase and Dusty Rhodes had a huge feud in the NWA, and they brought it here, and it continued on. They're both much older, so it's not as good. Go back and look up their old stuff from the NWA in the Carolinas and Mid-South. It's much better. Even in Florida, it was much better. But it didn't hurt my feelings. I'm not a big Dustin Rhodes fan, but it didn't hurt my feelings, so
Yeah, pretty much. And then the greatest part about this Raptor, they go back to the, Bobby and Gorilla, and Bobby gets shocked by the lights.
Yeah.
So fake looking, but it was great.
Yeah, it was obvious those lights weren't working, and he plugged them in. He wondered why they wouldn't turned on, and Gorilla goes, well, I have the switch right here, and he switched it, and you could tell and it was hilarious, Bobby getting up. Later on, he's like, I got my finger burnt. There's 50,000 volts. And he's like, there's 6 volts in there. And that was funny. He's like, yeah, we could have electrocuted all of San Quentin with that. It was great stuff. But it led us into probably the best match on the show.
Wow. Go ahead. You take this one.
Part of why is because I'm a fan of this one.
I know.
Davey Boy Smith with the dreads. Davey Boy Smith taking on Playboy Buddy Rose.
Go ahead.
Growing up in the Pacific Northwest, Playboy Buddy Rose was a big deal. He was the top heel. He and Roddy Piper had a huge feud. Yes, he's always been large. He used to talk about in the Pacific Northwest weighing 216 pounds, and he would do one-handed push-ups to prove he was thin. And he was a great heel, a great worker, a great bumper, and he bumped great here. He came up as an enhancement talent. His biggest thing in the WWF was the blow-away diet, where he dumped cornstarch on himself and stood underneath the fan and said, look, watch the weight go away. I'm 217 pounds. I've gained 1 pound since I was on the indie circuit.
Oh, my God.
But Buddy Rose and Davey Boy Smith had excellent chemistry. It made Davey Boy Smith look good. It made him look strong. Less than a year from this show, he's winning the Intercontinental title. Or was that 92 when he won it?
92.
So apologize. Year and a half, but he's got a good feud going on here. Buddy Rose made him look good. I went 2 1/4. I'm a huge fan of Buddy Rose, and he made this match look good.
I went 1.5. I thought it was a standard squash match, but yeah, he did a good job on there. I'll give him that. So I'll bump it up there to 2. There you go.
There you go.
So then we had another event center. Excuse me, so many things. Event center. But you know what? This time we get a quack attack because this was the best part of the show for me. Because yes, you like Buddy Rose, but we both like the Mountie as he pulls over somebody speeding on a horse and gives them a ticket. Honestly, one of the greatest things I've ever seen on primetime wrestling. One of the funniest moments of the Mountie's career. It was phenomenal. And that gets my quack attack.
And you'll get a quack attack from me. If anybody out there has any good graphics, now it has to be good. We don't want just garbage. if you can make the Mountie riding Hercules Hernandez like a horse and send it to Dr. Quack, you'll get a quack attack from me for 5 seconds on our next filming.
There you go, definitely. So you get that there.
But to follow on with these these spotlight segments where they were talking about the Royal Rumble, they actually managed during that time to talk about all 30 members who would be in the Royal Rumble for 1991.
Yeah, they did. They got through that, just like we're trying to get through this show here. The Hart Foundation taking on Black Bart, and I'm not sure who the mask guy is.
The Demon.
There you go, the Demon.
Now, we're familiar with Black Bart. Black Bart was a big talent on the Texas indie circuit and the regional circuit. We've done matches with him from the NWA, from the Starrcade, 83, 84, 85. Here he's an enhancement talent. He's at the end of his career, and the Demon is lost to history. I thought I recognized who it was.
Not that Demon from WCW.
No. Like how Danny Davis was Mr. X as a referee. I thought it may be somebody that was playing along, but I couldn't quite figure it out. Taking on the Hart Foundation, this luckily was short. And this was the only one that didn't have Sean Mooney and Lord Alfred Hayes. This was...
Go ahead.
This much better with Vince McMahon, Roddy Piper, and the Honky Tonk Man.
I love that the Honky Tonk Man was doing commentary. Thank you, sir.
Well, he did better on this one than the last thing.
Yes, he did. Yes.
At least this one he wasn't loud and screaming, and he actually added something.
He did. Oh, God. Yeah. Then you had Jake the Snake taking on Kent Carlson in a squash match. I went 1.5.
Yeah, Kent Carlson, another loss to history. This at the time, he was feuding with the Model. We're talking Jake Roberts here. Now, he's got his vision, sort of. This leads to the infamous, we've reviewed it and we hated it, blindfold match, although we understood it. Please don't do it again. The crowd was happy, so I went 1.5 with this match.
Yeah, and the other match they had lined up here was Mr. Perfect and Fred Rico. 1.5 stars for me.
Rico Federico with George Steinbrenner sitting in the front row.
Yes, that's a big thing that should be mentioned.
I enjoyed that here, this match. Rico Federico, this is another one. Mr. Perfect was known to take care of the indie guys and give them, or enhancement talents, and give them a couple of moves before he beat them. I like how he pointed to Steinbrenner, said, "This perfect plex is for you." Part of that is because, yes, in real life, Bobby Heenan and Kurt Hennig were both friends with George Steinbrenner, thanks to Wade Boggs.
Yes, and the close of this show, you know, if you got to watch anything on this show, make sure you watch this because this was great. They traded gifts here. And what? Bobby gave him a nice
banana with a red ribbon on it.
He went all out.
Saying he got him a nice jacket, but it was lost in the mail, so he was giving him something while he was searching for it. And Gorilla had 2 gifts up there. One big box and one little box. Bobby, of course, being the greedy heel he was, took the big box. Said, "It's the biggest, it must be for me." And it was full of gifts for their janitor. Well, so the little gift, Gorilla kept saying, "No, the little box is for you. The little box is for you." So Bobby Heenan took the hammer out and hit the crap out of it, and it was a Rolex watch.
Yeah. And then he continued to smash it as they're going off the air. Oh, my God. Yes, that is the end of our show. Thank you, Nick, for submitting that suggestion. We truly appreciate it. I know we wanted to go down memory lane here on Primetime.
Yeah, we went down memory lane. Now, we want to do something really important. This was not supposed to air. This was so good. Nick gave us such a good idea that we chose to come back, especially this guy who was on vacation, flew back from Tahiti just to be here to film this. So I want to say thank you for coming back to film that, and thank you, Nick, for that great suggestion.
Yeah, thank you, Nick, because you're not going to like the next suggestion. All I'm going to tell you is look right there. It's a new year, new me, same shit. Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy New Year. I'm Dr. Quack.
I'm waiting for my Zoloft to get here so I'm not turning around.
We'll see you next time.